Hello everybody and welcome back to What If Deku Was Born with a Quirk. Today we'll be essentially just doing the quirk training test, the ending of it at least, and a little bit of the hero versus villain training. So let's start a story. So after the first day, when everyone was going home, Bakugo and Deku just walk home with each other instead of in canon, where Bakugo just goes alone and Deku goes with Uraka and Ida. I don't really think Uraka and Ida would join this time, since Bakugo would probably just make them shoo. So let's start off with going to the second day of school. So I'm going to make it so that Deku and Bakugo are on the same team, since they're way better friends than in canon, and also I just like them actually being on the same team for once instead of always fighting against each other. So Deku and Bakugo start to fight against Uraka and Ida. They actually take the victory pretty easily, since Deku can manipulate other people's body to where they can essentially damage themselves. And after a while of doing this, Bakugo gets to the bomb as fast as possible and All Might's come to the speaker saying that Deku and Bakugo has won. And after a while of that, Deku starts heading home, and when he gets home, nothing pretty actually interesting happens. There's a little bit of stuff online on the computer. That's basically it. So let's time skip about a few days, because nothing really of interest happens until Deku and Bakugo start training again with each other. Since currently at school they're pretty much just learning normal things like any normal school, and after a while of training, Deku actually gets a new move. It's essentially completely manipulate everyone's energy around him into a gigantic ball of flame and he can take it by force or pretty much any time he wants. So after a while of doing that, they just start training way more. Deku starts getting used to stealing other people's body heat, since he wasn't really used to that. And after about 2 more days, Bakugo starts seeing that his explosions were getting way bigger than normal. This is because his quirk was just getting way stronger from all these years of training. After a little while more, Deku starts seeing that his quirk was improving a lot too. Now we could manipulate body heat way better than before, since now we can completely manipulate it. Before we could just extract it, but now we can even just get them out of their bodies for a long and put them into his, so he can preserve their body heat. It can be really useful, but he doesn't want to overheat, so he's still training to actually get better at not being overheated. But after a while of doing that, Deku starts noticing that Bakugo has been acting a little weird lately. Since Bakugo was training a lot, he was getting really tired. So was Deku, but he wasn't really noticing it as much. So Deku starts asking Bakugo what's wrong. Bakugo pretty much says nothing until he says to Deku, "I've just been really tired with all this training recently. Since we just got into UA, we haven't really done anything special. So let's time skip about to the USJ, since that is a really exciting arc in my opinion, where Deku does not learn full Cow, since he doesn't even have one for all. So essentially, Deku just stays training with Bakugo for a while. So instead of being paired up with Mineta and Sue, he gets teamed up with Bakugo in the USJ, since they were really close together, and I just think it's going to be an interesting team up, since Deku can just take everyone's body temperature and manipulate it so that he can just create the orb of fire I mentioned before. Everyone that uses J sees the big attack, and then even Nomu starts looking at it, and Shigaraki. But after a while of just looking at it, Deku throws it at down below, since that's where some of the enemies are, and where he thinks is the main villain. That's of course Shigaraki, since he's next to this big guy probably being guarded. Deku just throws it at him while Nomu starts to try to push it back. Everyone in the class starts to give a little energy, or at least try to give their body up, kind of like the spirit bomb. And finally, they actually have enough. Deku actually gets enough body heat to put it back in its place. Todoroki even helps a little with his fire, but not a lot, since he doesn't really like to use it, just like in canon. But he's actually a little more open to using it, since it's a life or death situation. And after a few minutes of struggling, Deku finally manages to put the last bit of effort in to actually hit the Nomu. But when everyone looks at it, but that was where we're going to be leaving things off for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, since that really helps out the channel. Now, see you again next time. See ya.